welcome to the podcast. Super excited for you to meet Heather Kilgore today. I met her in Texas. We instantly hit it off, and she started talking about this little thing called ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to be on my podcast. Now, of course, it's been a few months since we first met, and it's certainly taken the world by storm. But we're going to talk about practical ways to use, artificial intelligence in your role as a school communicator. Heather's from a small district. She wears a lot of hats. And how do we get everything done? So she's going to break down some simple strategies. She's also going to break into her Hot Mess Express, which is all of her social media channels. And she only took over about a year ago on the social media realm. So she's going to talk through strategies of how to do that. And then she's got a lot of tips on what the community really wants to see, what they're engaging with. And I know you're going to take a lot away from this episode. And I tell you what, I'm taking a lot away from all of you because of your amazing support for the launch of my new book, Social Media for Schools, Proven Storytelling Strategies and Ideas to Celebrate Your Students and Staff while keeping your sanity. You can order yours online now. It's on Amazon. It's on socialschoolforedu.com. But did you know that I have bulk order available? I had one district out of Texas that ordered 85 copies and they saved significantly off the list price of $24.99. Check that out on my website. I've got an easy form to submit. And if you order more than 50 books for your school district, you automatically get a 1-hour free webinar, chat, training, Q&A, whatever you want, included with yours truly. So I am going to join all of your readers to maybe discuss, maybe answer questions, maybe dive deeper into something that you're really struggling with at your school. But those are for everyone who buys 50 or more copies. And certainly that school in Texas is not the only school that has ordered multiple copies. If you are ordering more than 10, we have a 20% discount on our website. So again, you want to jump over to my website, socialschoolforedu.com for that. Just thank you so much for everybody. And if you do have your book and haven't tweeted out a picture yet, use hashtag school PR, tag me. I'm at Andrea Gribble. I'm at Social School for EDU out there on some different channels. Tweet those out. Post them out because I send out swag for some lucky readers. And so I really appreciate all the support. Now let's get to today's super helpful and practical K-12 PR tip. All right, today's K-12 PR tip actually comes to you from Tammy Kimberly. She is out of the West Valley School District number 363 in Washington. I met her at the WASPRA conference this fall of 2022, and she's actually a new membership member. I've got a great little community with amazing resources for you in our membership group. But we were chatting in one of the new member welcome calls, and somebody was really struggling with, like, how do you get more staff to submit content? How do you get more stories? How do you get more storytellers? And she just shared a really simple tip, and I wanted to share it with you. She said when she goes to a classroom to take pictures or something like that, she will actually ask the teacher, hey, who else? What other teachers are doing something really awesome that deserve to be highlighted? And then when the teacher says who it is, guess what? Tammy actually follows up with that teacher and says, hey, I heard you're doing something cool. And it's an easy way to expand your network, get more storytellers, get more people involved. I love that, Tammy. Thank you so much for sharing this week's K-12 PR tip. And now let's get a whole bunch of more tips with Heather Kilgore. Let's get started. Hello, Heather Kilgore. How are you doing today?
I am great. How are you?
Texas is good, and Wisconsin
Texas is great.
Yeah, Wisconsin's still a little bit chilly as we're recording this, but
weather is beautiful in Texas.
the sun's out. So if the sun's out, we're good. Heather, you and I met at TSPRA this February, which was amazing. And we got to talking about this little thing called ChatGPT. And
oh yeah, little thing then, but
yeah,
it has
really
exploded since.
Really big thing now. And so I'm so excited that we finally got to chat. But I'd love for you just to introduce yourself, kind of share a little bit of your background and then your role. You kind of have a long title for Commerce
And
ISD in Texas. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
okay, I'm Heather Kilgore. I am the Instructional Technology Coordinator, webmaster, and social media strategist for Commerce ISD. So my original role, what I have been doing the last couple of years, is Instructional Technology Coordinator. And then last April, I was asked to do social media and webmaster after a successful bond program. We were able to get a bond voted for our district, and I was the one who did all the social media and things behind that because I was not in that role in the district. I'm a parent, and I went to the meetings just to learn about the process, learn about what we were trying to do. So after everyone could see what I could do, then they were like, "Oh, we need you to do this for the district." And I was born and raised here. I have a heart. I bleed orange and black. I love the Tigers, and so it's just a great fit.
That's awesome. So how long have you been with the district?
I've been with the district 14 years.
14 years, and but just stepped into like the social media in the last year, is that right?
Yes, last April. So it's been one full year.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about Commerce ISD.
We are a 3A district, so I don't know what that means in other states, but we have about 1,500 students,
Okay.
about 120 teachers, and they are all mine. Since I'm the instructional technology coordinator, I'm the one who brought us through COVID, when all that started going on at spring break, and we found out what I started listening to podcasts and learning like what they were doing in China as far as American teachers in China. And so I built all of the professional development and everything and got us through that. And so I have a heart for our kids and our teachers, and so I just love this whole social media part of it too. I get to tell the story of the district, so
Yeah, and you wear a lot of hats,
I do.
and then you were good at social media. Sometimes it's like
Mhm.
with my husband, Heather, I don't wanna be good at painting because I don't wanna have to do it. You know,
I understand.
you were good at
Yes.
social media, and now you're jumping into it, but I can tell
Yes,
your passion. So
but one thing I didn't mention is I actually have a bachelor's degree in marketing. That's my first degree.
oh,
And so I always had a heart for I always wanted to do like print advertising. That's what I wanted to do. So I have a bachelor's degree in marketing, but then I did the alternative certification program, became a teacher instead, and then worked into technology, and now here I am. It's like a full circle moment where I am right now.
I love it. And that you don't get a lot of people in instructional technology that have a marketing background. Usually
Hmm.
they're reluctantly taking on, it's like, oh, you're technology, you're going to do social media. But
Hmm.
it's so different because of the storytelling, and we're going to dive into that. So
Okay.
how does social media fit into your role, and like which channels do you run for the district, and how does that all work?
I run all the channels. So we are mainly on Facebook because that's where our school community is. When I first started in instructional technology, I really pushed Twitter for the district. So we have a hashtag, which is CISD Tigers. And we were really big on Twitter. I pushed all of our teachers to get on there. We did Twitter chats. I had them share all the great things and pictures from their classroom because at that time we didn't really have a strong presence anywhere, so I was just pushing, just share what you're doing. I want to see all your techie things you're doing. But now we share on Twitter, but it's not the same level. It's fallen away a little bit. And we are on Instagram. We have not been very strong until recently because I have noticed if you take pictures of the middle school and high school kids and share them, oh my gosh, the analytics just blow up because they love to see themselves. So that has been a huge revelation lately is take pictures of the kids and share it on Instagram.
Yeah. And your size district to a lot of listeners is pretty similar. I mean, sometimes you hear Texas schools and you're like, oh my gosh, they're huge. But you've got
Yes, 5A, 6A. Yeah.
yeah, you've got 1,500 students. And so you're running like a district Facebook page, a district Instagram, and a district Twitter. Is that right?
Yes, but then each campus has their own page that I'm
Okay.
also an admin on. We have a lot of different booster groups. I am an admin on every single group in our district just so I can control when people leave and come in, kind of because we have lost pages before because we didn't have the right people on there. So, and yeah, and I can go in and tweak misspellings or be like, oh, I'll fix things a lot of time too. So, and then we have a Facebook group for our district, and that's where everything gets dumped into. It's called the Roar. And so I'm in the Roar and I share everything that every page in our district posts throughout the day, because I feel like our main Commerce ISD page would get inundated if I tried to share everything that every group posted throughout the day. So the Roar really is the place to be to see all the things going on in Commerce ISD.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I've got a really nice resource, an article of a school that's doing a Facebook group out east. And so that can be a great tool. But what I'm wondering now is, Heather, do you have 25 hours in your day?
I'm telling you, some people think I do. I just work very efficiently, and I have found some pretty cool tools that I can use
Yeah. Well,
at my disposal.
yeah, well, we're going to jump right now into one of those tools that first got us talking, but I also want to learn about some others because I'm betting that you've got some automation maybe built in to some of that story pulling. And so I'm really interested in that. But when we met at T-Spra, you shared how you were using ChatGPT to actually draft some of your social posts. And I was
Yes.
really you're like, really? What? And then I tried it and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Now, really, I have not discussed AI, artificial intelligence in the use of, social media posting and writing much on the show. And there's this whole ethical, moral, all of this stuff. We just kind of want to get into the practicality, Heather, of how you're using it. So tell
Yes.
me how you started using, how it works, and maybe, additional things that you've found helpful.
Okay, so when I first started, I read an article from our website vendor, and it was like how to use AI in your job, and I was like, "Oh, well, this is pretty neat." So I tried out some things. The first thing I did is I had it write a basic post for me. I said, "Write a Facebook post about a police chief job opening," and it gave me a pretty cool little blurb, and I was like, "Well, that was easy because." While I can write a Facebook post, I have the ability. Sometimes I just can't word that day, and it just gave me all the words. I was like, this is amazing. Well, then as I started learning more about the abilities of ChatGPT and other groups using it, I found out that you can be more specific about telling ChatGPT or AI who you are, what you're looking for, what your demographics are, that you want it to be witty and you want it to include relevant emojis, and you can just lay it all out and it'll give you, and you can even tell it to do Facebook copy, Twitter copy, Instagram copy, write an article for your website. It'll just do all of that in one seamless
Yeah.
prompt.
So I just write me a Facebook post for a job opening for police officer for our school. And right as I'm doing this, it's giving me, attention all community oriented individuals with a passion for ensuring safety and security. Our school district is currently hiring the position of police officer to join our team of dedicated professionals. It's got another paragraph. Then it talks about applicants must meet the following qualifications. You must possess a high school. You must have a valid driver's license. Like, it's finding this all over the web. Now, of course, I need to make sure that it's actually pertaining to my school, and I might add in some emojis and add in a link of where to apply. But that happened in literally the amount of time that I just typed that in and read it.
Yes, and if you wanted to put your job description in there in quotes and say pull information from this in your post, it'll do that as well.
Holy cow. So
Yep.
how has this made your job easier, or how has it helped you do your job?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'll wear many hats, like I said. I also have a student in the district, and she's a part of many clubs who do lots of fundraising. Well, guess who's in charge of the social media advertising for all of those fundraising events? That would be me. So we are working on something now called the Taste of Commerce, and we have 20 restaurants and like 50 sponsors, and I have to do individual posts for every restaurant joining and every sponsor to give them a shout out. That's like part of the deal. And so in years past, it would take me days sitting at my computer, just trying to be witty, trying to just think of neat things to say. Oh my gosh, ChatGPT has changed my life because I use the same prompt every time. I just copied and pasted it in and changed the restaurant name and changed what their taste was going to be. And it gave me a completely new, original, awesome post for every single restaurant. And it's just like a game changer.
So you had to individually paste each option, but I'm sure.
I did, but I could probably say write a different post for each one of these and just list them out. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I bet you could because as we know, we're recording this in April. This is going to air in May. The artificial intelligence is continually, which is can be the scary part, but it's continually getting better. As people are using it, it's knowing what we want to use it for,
Yes.
and so then it's getting smarter. And so that is unbelievable. Everybody who's ever had writer's block and is like, how do I make kids cutting out star shapes exciting in kindergarten? Well, now all of a sudden, ChatGPT or artificial intelligence, ChatGPT is one of them that's an open source that's free.
Yes. Hmm.
But artificial intelligence to the rescue, which by the way, when you think about it, it's been around for a while, right?
It has in different areas. I mean, we've had our artificial intelligent images. I mean, we have Alexa, and she has a piece of AI in her. I mean, all these different voice controlled
Right. And
helpers do. So,
and Google, like your Gmail, like when it auto
mhm.
expects what you're going to say, like that's AI.
Yes,
Grammarly, which helps me because I'm
yes.
pretty good in English,
And my
but
son loves Grammarly. He's in college.
yeah, it really helps make sure that you don't have mistakes. And so that really is artificial intelligence. So how do you think AI is impacting especially school communicators? Because that's kind of my audience. So what do you think there?
Well, I was thinking the other day about me and technology. Washing a washing machine is technology. So instead of us standing at the river, washing our clothes, it gives us more time. So as a school communicator, why would you not use the latest technology that's going to give you more time? Like I mentioned earlier, I have the ability to write Facebook copy, Twitter copy, Instagram copy, all these things, but why do I have to do that every single day when I can plug it into this bot and it can spit it out for me and save me time to do the hands-on things that I have to do in my job, like for convocation, build a balloon arch. There's other physical things that I can do, and utilize technology that's there for me.
Yeah, that's a really great example. So we're not all hand washing all of our things because we've got this
Yes,
washing machine. This is the
yes.
newest piece of technology, where you have to be careful. And I think many people are, is it's not necessarily a final draft. It's a first draft that you can then
Mhm.
take and cater to your school, to your district. Sometimes what they find maybe isn't accurate. And so you need to do all of the checking. So where we may be fearing that, oh my gosh, it's going to take my job, I don't think it's going to take your job. I think somebody still
Mhm.
is plugging the information in. And obviously, like you said, you can spend your time on doing things that AI can't do. Um, now using it in your role, I'm sure as an instructional coach and in charge of technology at your district, there's a whole different thing with kids learning to write papers and things like
Yes.
that and not using it. So
And
I'm
our
assuming.
teachers are actually teaching our students how to use it, how not to use it to cheat, but how to improve their writing process with it, like use
Okay.
the technology.
Right. Yeah. There's just a balancing act. So yeah, I love it. I think you really are leveraging it in the right way. And I just am really interested in the fundraising aspect because that's one of those repetitive things. It's like, how
Yes,
the heck do I make this sound exciting and different when I have to do it 50 different times?
exactly. Yes.
So, are there any other examples, social media or not, that you have leveraged some of the artificial intelligence for your role?
Not
Mainly social media?
really.
Okay.
Yeah, it's mainly social media at this point, because that is my role. I know in it, I have watched a lot of Instagram stories, and I follow a lot of people on Instagram who are talking about the abilities of AI, and I know that they use it a lot in their web development. And if it was, if I rewound to last summer when I was rebuilding our entire website and I needed to write some things, I probably would have used it. And when I have to go back and edit, I will put it against ChatGPT, because even if I write something, I can put it in there and tell it, hey, proof this for me. Hey, make this better for me. And it'll take it and it may give me words or add in things that I never thought about. So
Yeah.
I will probably use it in pretty much everything. And I know
Yeah.
in my Google searches, I enabled the Google Chrome extension for ChatGPT. So when I do a Google search, right there in that blank space on the right hand side of the screen, ChatGPT gives me its response. So I have all of the links and things I have to dig through on one side, and then ChatGPT gives me the answer on the other side. So it really is nice.
That's interesting. Can you share that link with me? What that
Yes, I can.
extension is?
Yes.
So that's very interesting. And we wanted to talk more about some of these other tools because you are a master of many of these tools. I know in addition to just writing for you, there's some crazy things with voiceover. There's some crazy things happening with images and being able to find
Yes.
like specific images that you are after to use in whatever. I like to think of objects more than people, just because sometimes some of those can get pretty doctored up. But tell me about some of those uses that you have experience with or that you just have heard about.
Well, I have used Canva since 2014. So I have used it since it was kind of like paint into what it is now. And they actually have an AI tool within their program that is text to image. And so, if you use Canva, there are tons of elements. And if you're looking for something specific, sometimes the scrolling can get tedious. But if you use their AI feature, you type in exactly the image that you're looking for, and then it creates it for you. So
Yeah.
that is a great AI tool within Canva.
Yeah, and most of my listeners are big Canva users. I absolutely love it. I'm actually doing some training this week with some school communicators that I am working with in California, and it's just neat to be exposed to all those capabilities so that in the case that you need to use it or want to use it, you can.
Yes.
So, what other tools do you use in your role to help save time and then help create things? And one of them that I'm interested in from earlier is just the fact that you're pulling all of the different social media posts into a Facebook group. Do you have anything that helps you do that?
Not at this time.
Okay.
I'm pretty manual with that because we are a pretty small district, and I like to know what's going on. So I don't really want to automate any of that because I like to see what's going on. So if I need to follow up with a story or go take pictures or things like that, so I'm pretty hands on with that. But I can see how a larger district would use Buffer or some other tools for automation. I schedule a lot of things. I do that
Sure.
part, but as far as automating sharing, I don't do any of that. I
Okay. All
tried to
right.
do that one time with Twitter, and I had some things commerce shared, and I was like, oh, I'm not doing that anymore. So
I
yeah, I
know.
learned my lesson.
I just had a district reach out to me and their like tweets were going to Facebook and they're like, I tried everything. And then finally I'm like, well, there was that old app, if this, then that.
If this
And
and
I'm
that,
like,
yep, that's
check
what
that
happened to
out.
me.
And that's what it was. So it was like it was something set up a long time ago. And so you got to be careful when you connect things because then sometimes it's hard to unconnect them. And just like you said, you talked a little bit about you've got all of these different pages, you've got access to those because sometimes you lose access and it happens all the time. People are like, oh my gosh, this person left the district and nobody gave. So that's quite a job though to wrangle all those in. So, what tips or strategies do you have to our listeners of trying to get something like that set up at their school?
It's just communicating with your people. So when I
Mm.
first got this job, we were a hot mess express. One page we didn't even have access to. I think it was our middle school page. So I had to go like principals back, you know, and like send them an email. Hey, do you still have access? Or no, I don't. Well, I need you to let me show you exactly where to click to see if you are an admin. And one of them, sure enough, oh, well, I didn't know I still had access to that. So now I am on all the pages, sat down with each principal and each group, and we redid the design of the logo on the page and the header image, and we kind of got everything aligned that way. So, and now I'm on every page. And so our next step is going to be um, aligning our posts, make sure they all kind of look the same, using our
Okay.
correct logos, colors, all those type of things. So
Okay.
it's just a process.
I love Hot Mess Express. I think a lot of us in some areas of our life or social media are a hot mess express, but you got to just take those little baby steps. And I have got a question for you. Do you have like a social media directory on your website that kind of gives all of the official social media channels, or don't you have anything like that?
Our website host Final Site actually has a plugin for our social media. So since we are mainly a Facebook district, our main homepage has all of our posts as they come in live. And then each campus page has the same thing. So it's just
Okay.
automatically embedded there, which is great because the people who don't have Facebook, they are able to still see the images and the information.
Okay, awesome. And I've got lots of friends over there at Final Site. I'm about to speak at our school PR day,
Oh,
which
yes.
by the time this airs, it'll already be over, but that's great. Okay, before we started, I was admiring, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you are going to see behind Heather. She has a really cool wall. And I love it because I saw the I love you mom with the little face. But tell me about your wall behind you.
Well, I've had this office for 10 years, and this wall was blank for probably about 5 of it. And I have behind me over here, my Instagram and Twitter handle is Techie Kilgore. So I have all these neat letters that say Techie Kilgore. And so then I thought I need a wall of just to remind me of my why, because I would get thank you notes and notes from kids and pictures of kids, and I needed a place to display them. So I made my why wall, and these are just different groups who have thanked me for supporting them. This is a senior. Hold on, let me get my finger over here. This blue, right? This is a letter from a senior last year who he was one of my kindergartners, and he chose me as his most influential teacher. So that's his letter written to me right there by the door as I walk out. So everything that is like, it's my why. So when days get hard, I look at my why wall.
Yeah, I love that idea. I know I was just in Iowa and I said, if you're having a bad day, just get out to a classroom. Because if you can get into your classrooms, like you are going to have a better day. Well, you're bringing that right into your office with your Y wall. And so I just want to encourage everybody out there to think about that over the summer. Be a good project. She's got the my why written out in some different cool letters and then just start adding to it. I love that
Move
idea.
my move my thing up there. See, my
Yes,
why.
I love it. And hustle and heart. And I can tell you've got a lot of both of those things. So just as we kind of wrap up, what are some of the best stories that you've been able to share from your school on social media?
One of my most favorite things that I have done on social media, I wasn't in this role yet. We actually raised, or I hate to say I did it, but it was a grassroots effort. I raised $14,000 just on Facebook and Venmo from our community for band uniforms. So my kids are both in the bands, and they needed new uniforms in a bad way. And it was going to be a state competition year the next year. And if you're from Texas, it's football and marching band. Like those are the things. So we needed new uniforms, and just between Facebook posts, I mean, we raised $14,000 for the band just
That's
from social media. And I'm just like, oh, the power of communication and just showing them pictures of each garment and say, if you just give us $35, you'll buy the gauntlet. And I mean, just breaking it down and telling the story. And it was a huge thing.
okay. So what I'd love for you to do is send me a couple example posts that you did for that
Okay.
campaign. Because I'm sure people listening will be like, oh, I want to see like what kind of unique ideas. Was there
Yeah.
any other like things that really reached a lot of people in regards to how you posted about that fundraiser?
No, it was just I'm from here
Yeah.
and I'm in the school, and I've taught a lot of kids in this district. So I have a huge following within the town, and it gains speed. I mean, as soon as I started sharing, everybody's like, yes, the band needs uniforms. And it was just like, everybody would share and everybody got behind me in a big way. Businesses were doing their own side fundraisers and giving the money to the band for uniforms because each uniform was $440. So a lot of parents, like I bought two because I had two kids in the band. So people would buy the uniform for their own kids. So it
Okay.
was awesome. But yes,
All right.
I will definitely send you some posts.
Okay. That is great. Any other story that stands out to you that you would want to share, or stories that you continually kind of share for your district?
I just enjoy sharing the kids and what they're doing. I know that I can get wrapped into a lot of posts about, oh, it's appreciation day for this, or don't forget the school board meeting and the reminders for the field trips and all those type of things. But getting in the classrooms, getting in the gym, the playgrounds, and getting these candid shots of the kids, oh my gosh, the community eats it up, and that's what drives our engagement the most is the actual pictures of our tigers. So that I talk about our tigers, and that's what they want to see. And so that is my favorite thing is getting my camera and going to the track meet and getting those really cool shots of the kids. And yeah, it's my why. The kids are my why. So
Right. Yeah.
anything involved with the kids and show and telling their story, it's what I do.
And I think some people can get caught up in all of the, oh, we need a strategic plan. What's our communications plan? It's like at the bottom, at the end of the day, social media is about celebrating what's happening at your school. And you just need to get out into the school buildings, out of the school buildings, onto the racetrack or out on the playground or in the classroom. And you share those moments, like you said, those candid shots. That's what people are craving to see and interact with. So that's really powerful. So as we wrap up, and you may have already shared your biggest tip, but what would you say is your best social media tip?
Be transparent and just let people know what's going on in the school building, because I think that's a lot of the disconnect with education and even like our lawmakers and parents who want to criticize what's going on in the schools. Like, show them, open the doors, show them what it looks like, and I think that's my biggest tip is just be transparent.
Yeah, I love it. So if people want to stay connected to you, Heather, what's the best way? Email or Twitter, or what would you tell them?
um Email if they have a question,
Okay.
heather.kilgore@commerceisd.org. Or you can find me on Twitter at Techie Kilgore or Instagram at Techie Kilgore. TECHY, not IE.
Okay.
But I'm on Instagram most personally because I spend so much time on Instagram. I mean, on Facebook. I feel like all my personal stuff I share on Instagram more.
Okay, that's a good way to
Yeah.
split it up. This has been such a great conversation. You can tell everybody. Okay, so Heather and I sat down and we were only talking for a few minutes, which we had to talk really loud because people from Texas, when they get together once a year at Teespra, it gets really loud.
It's
Um,
loud.
but I'm just like, oh my gosh, will you be on my podcast? And you're like, sure. And now you know why, because she's got a lot of great tips. So we might have to have you back again soon. But this was just such a great conversation. Your school district's so lucky to have you. So keep up the
Thank
great
you.
work. And I appreciate your time today.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And everybody will see you next week with another great guest on the podcast. Until then, keep telling those stories. Bye bye.
Bye.